All right, good evening, folks. My name is Andra Jacques. My gender pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm a study abroad advisor. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope that you find this webinar helpful, informative, brief. I'm going to go through a few slides, general study abroad slides, very specific slides for the UK and Ireland, and then we'll have time at the end for you to ask questions. At any time, you can feel free to ask questions via the Q&A box, and I will answer all questions live at the end. You can choose to submit your questions anonymously. And for your information, this session is being recorded. Alrighty, let's begin. All right, so today we are focused on studying abroad in the UK and Ireland. And just so we are sure that everyone is on the same page, in the United Kingdom, or more affectionately known as the UK, we have England, Scotland, and Wales. For Ireland, today specifically, we're focusing on the Republic of Ireland, although we do work with some partners who have programs in Northern Ireland. So just a point of clarification. All right, so when it comes to studying abroad, there's a lot to think about when it comes to your planning process. We are going to break all of that down today. But your first step is being here, getting the info, and hopefully you have something to write with or you're typing away to take notes so that you have your game plan for where to go next. So first, let's talk about timing. The programs that we're talking about today are all available for summer, quarter, semester, academic year. So it's important to kind of think about what are you looking for. Quarter is the most popular option for our students. However, although we are on the quarter system, most of the rest of the world is on the semester system. So what a lot of students may not know is that if you're participating in a program abroad during one of our quarters, it's a semester link. So in the fall, you're just missing fall quarter. But if you're considering a spring semester program, that's actually going to cover our winter and spring quarters. Summer after the quarter, summer is our next most popular option. For many students, summer works best for their schedules for a variety of reasons. It's the best time for them in their academic schedule. It may work best for you based on your job or your family obligations or whatever you're involved with on campus. We totally understand that. We just want you to find the program length that is the best fit for you. But it's really important to pay attention to the dates of the program. So when you're checking out a program, be sure to check out the dates. All the programs today fall pretty traditionally within the semester calendar, but sometimes we do have programs that will span, for example, between fall and winter quarter, and it's considered an autumn term or a fall term, so be careful there. Also, application deadlines. So if you are thinking about studying abroad next summer, so summer 2021 or fall 2021, your time to apply actually begins this fall 2020. So applications will open in October, and most of the deadlines for UK Ireland programs for summer and fall 2021 will happen in January. So that's really far in advance. So most of our program deadlines are anywhere from 6 months to 9 months to even a year in advance. So definitely want to pay attention to application deadlines. And then we want to make sure that this is going to fit into your academic plan. So we want to make sure that the time that you're going abroad fits best within your academic plan. You're not missing any important courses that are only offered every other year. You're not missing any sequential courses. So check in with your academic advisors now if you haven't done your 4 or 2 year plan, to determine when is the best time for you to go abroad that's not going to be disruptive to your academic plan. We have data to prove that students who study abroad graduate more on time or earlier than students that don't, and that is because of all the academic planning that goes into this process. If you're thinking of studying abroad during the summer, that's an opportunity to perhaps get ahead in your academic plan. All right, location. So we're talking about the UK and Ireland specifically today, but There are lots of different options that are pretty diverse in terms of their landscape, in terms of the people, in terms of the size of the city and the institutions, just within the portfolio that we're discussing today. We're going to break that down a bit more, but you really want to think about, do you want to be at a really large institution in a hustle bustle city? Do you want to be in a more rural location? Do you want a private or public institution? There's a lot that goes into just deciding on location, even if you've decided on country already. For many of you, you may make a decision on your institution based on which option has the most courses that fit your needs. So you may have thought, oh, I want to be at such and such institution, but perhaps that institution doesn't have the courses that you need. So that'll definitely be an important deciding factor. Also, type of housing. For most of the programs that we're going to talk about today, you'll be living in a dorm on or off campus. There are a couple options that have apartments, but for the most part, it's dorm. So if you're looking for something different in your housing option, perhaps the UK may not be the location for you. Okay, finances. This is a big one. For those of you who do receive financial aid can be applied towards your study abroad program. So that's your state and federal aid, your scholarships, both university scholarships and outside scholarships, depending on the program you choose. Some or all of that financial aid may or may not be available, but students can study abroad and use financial aid. We also have tons and tons of scholarship opportunities available. So we work very closely with our students to make sure that they apply for every scholarship that is available, that you are eligible for. There's no limit to the number of scholarships that you can apply for. We'd love for you to stack on scholarships. Students win multiple scholarships all the time. And we also offer essay writing workshops. We'll start offering those again come probably fall, but most certainly in winter quarter, because most of our summer fall scholarship deadlines happen in March. And we work with you to write the best essay possible. All of us sit on scholarship boards, both for UCSD, for UCEAP, and for external scholarships, national scholarships. So we know what they're looking for and what makes a great winning essay. So those workshops have been really helpful for our students. The students who attend our workshops have a much higher rate of receiving scholarships. And this last year, we did give out $980,000 in financial aid, actually. So that's quite a lot of money, financial aid and scholarships. So please don't let cost be a factor for you. There's a lot of aid available. For those of you who are international students or who may not qualify for financial aid, please focus on the scholarships. There are lots of scholarships available for international students and non-resident students as well. All right, academics. So the courses that you take abroad, of course, generally you would want them to satisfy graduation requirements for you, but of course you can study abroad and take courses that have nothing to do with your current academic plan. I've had engineering students who want to go abroad and study language or study humanities, courses that they don't actually need for it to fulfill graduation requirements. We want you to do and explore whatever works best for you. But for most of you, you're going to need to stay on track for graduation. So that means taking courses that you would otherwise take on campus. And that's where all of this planning comes into play. So as part of our application process, you will complete a form called the Academic Planning Form. This is a form that you will take around to your major, minor, college advisors, along with the course descriptions or course syllabi for the courses you're planning to take abroad. So this is an opportunity to meet with your advisors, have them review your courses, and for them to say, yep, these courses look good, they're upper division, they will definitely work for your major electives or whatever it may be. And so they'll be able to tell you, yep, this course looks petitionable, proceed. So that way it takes kind of the guesswork out of it. You know the courses you're planning to take abroad will fit into your academic plan. You'll be able to receive, fulfill specific requirements for your courses abroad. And so that's a really important step in our process. You may also consider participating in an internship or research opportunity abroad, and we're going to talk about some of those in the UK and Ireland today. For many of those options, you can receive academic credit as well. And so that's a really great way to enhance your experience abroad. Aside from living in a different culture and gaining lots of marketable skills, you could also be building your resume. And then for most of you, you'll be petitioning your courses upon return, although for some of your areas of study, your departments may require that you petition your courses in advance. So the moral of the story is plan early and have lots and lots of advising to make sure that this whole plan is going to work well for you. All right, and your identity and your identities matter. The intersection of your identities will definitely play a huge role in your study abroad experience, as I'm sure they do here at home or in La Jolla at UCSD. We have a lot of resources available for you on our website and through our partner institutions. If you need extra support, if you have any questions about how your identity may play into your experience abroad, please feel free to reach out to us. If you identify as a queer student, as a first-generation college student, as a low-income student, as a student of color, there are a lot of resources available, so please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, so if you have been at all on our website or in our office perusing around, you may have seen a lot of different types of programs and a lot of different acronyms. So we're going to break down some of those today, the ones that pertain to our program options in the UK. So first is the University of California Education Abroad Program, or UCEAP. It is our biggest provider. The University of California is so large, we do have our own provider, that is UCEAP. So any students across the UC can study abroad through UCEAP. Almost 500 different program options in over 50 different countries. That is a lot of programs. What that means for you is that you're earning UC credit while participating in, let's say, Oxford University. You're attending Oxford University but earning UC credit. That means those courses are going to transfer back here to UC, to UCSD as UC courses. They will be factored into your GPA. The letter grades will show up on your transcript. And it also means that any financial aid that you have can be used towards these programs. So that means your state and federal aid, your UC specific aid, these are considered UC programs. Most of the programs that we're going to look at today do fall into the UCEAP category. So if that's what you're looking for, that's the breakdown for UCEAP. A couple of things to note. If you are a non-resident student or international student, you will be paying your non-resident fee on top of the program fees that you see listed on the website. They now have a really great program calculator where you can put in your home campus, so UCSD, whether or not you're a California resident or a non-resident, and which term you're planning to participate in, and you can get a true calculation of what your program fees will be. So that's a great brand new tool that they just rolled out a few weeks ago. So I would definitely check that out when you're perusing these programs that we're going to discuss today. Another thing I want to mention is that as of yesterday, UCEAP has canceled or suspended all fall study abroad. That's an unfortunate result, obviously, of COVID-19. We're obviously really bummed about that. So if you are a student who was affected by that, my apologies and my condolences. And we very much hope to be able to run our winter and spring UCEAP programs, and absolutely expect to be able to run our summer and fall 2021 programs. Okay, next we'll talk about our Opportunities Abroad program, or OAP. So this is basically any non-UC program. For many of you, the UCEAP programs may not be the best fit, especially if you are a non-resident student or an international student who wants to avoid paying the non-resident fee. So you may find yourself looking at program options within our OAP category. For these programs, they are absolutely in the same locations as UCEAP, so the same institutions. You could also consider direct enrolling at many of our UK and Ireland institutions, and that would also fall into our OAP program category. You would be earning transfer credit instead of UC credit. State and federal financial aid would apply, but you would not be able to use any UC specific aid. Because this is transfer credit, the courses will appear on your transcript, but they'll be in the transfer credit section, so the grades will not appear on your UC transcript. They will fulfill your degree requirements, but they will not be factored into your GPA for that term. And we'll talk a bit more about some of our OAP options in the UK and Ireland later. All right, so let's get into our programs. Let's start with the English universities, or I'm sorry, the English programs, and then start with the English universities. So starting off with London, and many of you may know, or some of you may not know, that the UK is the most popular study abroad destination for US degree seeking students. that's the case across the country, and it's certainly the case at UC San Diego. So it is very, very popular. You send a lot of students to the UK every year. London, of course, is the most popular city. So every student sort of feels like they want to be in London. Many of you sitting on this call may right now feel like you want to be in London, and that's great because London is a very, very exciting city. I want to talk about the London universities, but also talk about some of our program options outside of London, still in England, but outside of London. So University College London, King's College London, and Queen Mary London are without a doubt our most popular UK institutions. We send the most students to those three institutions across the board in the UK. For a few different reasons. All three of these universities are located in the heart of the city, right in the hustle and bustle. It's like you go to your class in one building and then you hop out into the London bustling street and go back to your dorm, which is also, in the hustle and bustle of the city. They are really, really excellent institutions with tons and tons of courses. So what you'll see when you're visiting the UCEAP website for these institutions is that they offer humanities, social sciences, science courses, engineering courses. They offer it all. So they're certainly good options for really any student. Pretty much every area of study can study at these institutions, but they do have a few quirks. So University College London, you do have to apply to a specific academic department. You do have to take at least 2 courses from that academic department. So it's not enough to just be accepted by UCL. You have to be accepted by the academic department. And UCL does not make all of its academic departments available to visiting students. A prime example is neuroscience. They have a world-class neuroscience department, but they don't allow visiting students to access that. So it's really, really important that when you're looking at the academic information page for University College London on the UCEAP website, that you pay attention to which academic departments you are allowed to apply to. They do list them there. If you don't see your area listed there, you're going to have to choose from that list or choose a different institution. We have a lot of students that get stuck on that, and so it's really important that you know that in advance. I also forgot to mention that all of these institutions that you see listed here fall into our UCEAP English Universities program. So I'll break that down a bit more later, but just so you know, you'd be applying to UCEAP English universities with a preference for University College London or King's College London, so on and so forth. So King's definitely is also very, very popular, and they're not as restrictive as UCL. Same with Queen Mary. They are not at all restrictive with their departments. Students can take courses in any departments. The other thing to note about these 3 institutions is they all require at least a 3.3 minimum GPA. So if you don't have a 3.3, I'm sorry, UCL and King's do require 3.3. Queen Mary requires a 3.3 as well. So that may weed out some students if you don't quite have a 3.3. There is no flexibility. They won't make any considerations. While we are very flexible and understanding of when you have a bad quarter, they are not so much. So if you don't have that minimum GPA, please move on to another institution. Again, no flexibility there. Queen Mary is on the east end of London, which I think is like very hip and cool. It's kind of like the Brooklyn. If you've been to Brooklyn in New York, it's kind of like that type of a borough feel. It's very artsy, very cultural, full of tons of young people. So I like that kind of vibe. Whereas UCL and King's are both right by, if you're familiar at all with London, or if you've seen any pictures of London, they're just off the Thames, right by Parliament, or right by Big Ben. So right in the heart of the city. Royal Holloway London is still in London, but it is on the outskirts of London. So you would take the tube or a bus to the outskirts of London. It's a little bit more on the rural side, if you will, but not really, because it's still totally in London. And they do have a 3.0 minimum GPA requirement, so a bit more accessible. Still STEM courses, humanities, social science courses available. Imperial College London is right near UCL and King's, right in the heart of the city, but Imperial College London is exclusively for computer science and engineering students only, and it is a year program. So if you're not computer science and engineering, or if you don't want to study abroad for a year, move on with Imperial College London. Brunel University is also in London. It's not quite as popular as the other locations, although it does have courses across every discipline. but it's a little more on the outskirts. At the end of this, I'll show you a map so you can get a better idea of where all of these are. And then last but not least is Sotheby's Institute of Art. This program is exclusively for art students. As you might have guessed from the name, it is a very prestigious art institution, but only works well for art students. The end. All right, so let's get out of London and head on to other parts of the UK or other parts of England. So most of these locations are within an hour to an hour and a half train ride from London. So not far from London at all. You could very easily come to London for the evening or a long weekend or whatever you want to do. They're not far at all. I would say University of Kent is perhaps one of my most favorite institutions out of all of my England institutions. They are in Canterbury, which I think is a really cool, very historical city in England. University of Kent is really, really excellent in a lot of disciplines, but more specifically in the social sciences, especially if you're political science or law. They have like premier departments in political science and law, and their graduate school for international affairs and international law is unparalleled. That's in Brussels, Belgium. So University of Kent, I think, is great. University of Sussex is also a very underrated institution outside of London. They're in Brighton, which is the beach. It looks, you know, like a British beach, I guess, if you will. It's very beautiful there. Being on the water, for those of you who love being in San Diego, this is a great place to be near the water. Sussex also has courses across every discipline, but they're especially great in psychology and communications. So if you're looking for communications, it's not necessarily like an area of study that you're going to see at a lot of English institutions, but you will see it at Sussex. Manchester, I think, is just probably the coolest city outside of London in the UK. And Manchester is a very good institution, very large institution. So don't forget about Manchester. Bristol, East Anglia, and Warwick, less popular obviously than London and the three other universities that I mentioned, but still excellent institutions. UCEAP does not partner with any institution but the best. So these are other good options. The other thing to consider about well, I will talk about this more in a minute, but the other thing to consider about locations outside of London is they are generally less expensive. All right, so a few things to know about these English institutions. For the English Universities program through UCEAP, you're not guaranteed placement at your first choice institution. So I mentioned before that you are applying to English universities with a preference for a specific institution. Excuse me. So let's say King's College London is your first choice. It's like almost everybody's first choice. You're not guaranteed placement there. UCEAP is going to look at institutions across, or is going to look at applications across the University of California. They're going to place students based on major, based on GPA, and based on how many students across the UC have listed that institution as their first choice. So on a very, very competitive term, I've seen no students with a GPA below a 3.4 or 3.5 placed at those three London institutions. So that's something to keep in mind, depending on how competitive the term is. And I don't really have any great indicators of how competitive a term will be. You may not be placed at your first choice institution. The London universities are most expensive. London is one of the most expensive cities in the entire world. So when you take a look at the price, if you've got a bit of sticker shock, keep in mind that you're paying to live in one of the most expensive cities in the world. It does not matter at the end of the day where you are placed, as long as they have the courses that you need. And so they will literally have you rank in your application. I think at this time they're having you rank your top 4 institutions, because it's entirely possible you'll be placed at any of the institutions on your ranking list. A lot of students pick the UK and pick London because they feel like, okay, well, it's an English-speaking country. I only speak English, or I'm most comfortable with English, and so that's where I want to be, which is great. But London is an extremely diverse city, one of the most diverse cities in the world. There are folks from all over the world there. English may be the official language, but you'll hear lots and lots of different languages spoken in the streets. I will say when I'm in London, the very first thing I do is get Indian food because that's my favorite thing to eat there. And you'll be able to find food from all over the world in that city. Of course, there's like pretty typical English pub food there, but that's like, in my opinion, not the most exciting food to eat in that city. There's everything to eat in that city. And then in most cases, you will travel by tube. If you're living in London, you will get an Oyster card at a great student rate. And so that's how you'll travel around the city, or also by bus or by train. And then in most cases, you are living in university housing. You generally have your own room. You share your common spaces in your wing with other students. You'll have a common kitchen. So you'll go to the market, buy your food, cook food in your own, in your shared kitchen, or you can eat out. Some of your institutions will have dining halls, but most of them don't really do that. All right. So in addition to our partnerships with those fabulous English institutions, we also have programs that are, and I apologize, you probably hear my child in the background. We also have programs that are University of California center programs. We have our own UC centers around the world, including in London. And so this is a great option if your GPA maybe does not meet the minimum requirement for the English institutions, because pretty much across the board, they are 3.0 or higher. I did mention 3.3 earlier. There are a couple that will accept down to like a 2.85, but for the most part, they are 3.0 or above. So if your GPA doesn't quite meet that mark, you may consider one of our UC Center programs. Our UC Center programs also are all quarter length programs, a traditional quarter length that match our quarter. And so I mentioned before that most of the other program options within the UK are semester length. So a semester in most cases falls from August to December. In the UK, it falls from early September through December. So they start about 3 weeks before we start at UC San Diego. These quarter programs follow our actual quarter dates, which is kind of nice if that's what you're looking for, if you really need your program to fit within the quarter. So first off is the Global Cities Urban Realities program. That is a multi-country program. So you can choose to start in London or Paris. You're going to hit up both locations over the quarter. They also have a spring semester option. And I put semester in quotations because it starts in our spring quarter and goes through our summer session 1. If you are interested in doing the internship that is a part of that program, then you will start in Paris and end in London. It's a pretty exciting program. It does work really well for a few different areas of study, social sciences, and they do actually have a couple of health science courses. And I think it's pretty exciting to be kind of in a comparative lens program between London and Paris. London's Calling is a fall quarter only option. It's pretty general courses. You may find course options that fit well for your area of study, but many of these courses probably are going to work for GE requirements for students. These are set courses for all 3 programs that I'm talking about here in our UC Center programs. There's no big course catalogs. They just have the courses that are available on that program page, and that's it. So if those courses don't work for you, you should move on to a different program. We also have the Business and Entrepreneurship in London. Oh, I didn't write that, but it is a winter quarter only. So we have our spring quarter option, our fall quarter option, and Business and Entrepreneurship is a winter quarter only option. As you might have guessed from the title, it is a best fit for business, economics, entrepreneurship, maybe management science students. And all 3 of these program options have internship options available. So if you're interested in interning in London, this is a really great option, or any of these could be a really great option. The classes are taught at our UC Center, so they're not, again, partnered with any institutions within the UK. You're going to live in an apartment in most cases, or perhaps residence hall provided by our partner, Accent, and they help us run our programs on the ground. So don't forget about the UC Center programs. And then we have our summer options. London School of Economics, Oxford University, and Cambridge are all, of course, very prestigious institutions. These, I consider summer to be easy access to what is otherwise, or what are otherwise very difficult institutions to get into as a visiting student. So if you want to have one of these prestigious institutions on your resume, summer could be that opportunity for you to do that. London School of Economics has 3 different term options available, session 1, 2, and 3. Through UCEAP, you can do 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or you can direct enroll at London School of Economics as an OAP student and do all 3 sessions. What can I say? LSE is, you know the name, probably most of you, if you are economics, business, management science, or political science, because they actually have changed their name to London School of Economics and Political Science. This is a great way to have access to some of the most prestigious professors in the world, and be in school with students from all over the world in the summer at LSE. Oxford University, this is definitely an exciting program for our students. This coming summer will be our 3rd summer at Oxford. We have our partnership specifically with Exeter College. You're going to see mostly social sciences and humanities courses offered. So if you're looking for STEM options, I would say that would not be the best fit for you. We do only take, usually I get 3 to 4 spaces for UCSD students, so it is incredibly competitive, and they do have a 3.3 minimum GPA requirement. I can't say I've ever had a student who's made a spot that has had a GPA less than a 3.4. What can I say? It's Oxford. It's very, it's very prestigious. To get into that institution during the school year, I would say you'd have to have at least a 3.5. So summer is a great way to, again, get into that prestigious institution with a bit of a lower bar. Cambridge is perhaps our most popular summer option on this list. Our partnership with Pembroke King's College, and they have a ton. I mean, they really do have a really large summer course catalog: humanities, social sciences, health sciences, biological sciences, natural sciences. It's really, really an exciting university. And they also have a research option available, which they call supervision. So you have supervision from a Cambridge professor, and you can pursue a topic of your choice or from a list, contribute to ongoing research, and a lot of students like to take advantage of that. And then you'll see some familiar names here: Queen Mary, University College London, Sussex, and Sotheby's all have summer options available as well. All right, so let's head out of England and head into Scotland. All right, so we have 3 university partnerships in Scotland: University of Edinburgh, University of Glasgow, and St. Andrews. Edinburgh by far is our most popular, I would say, because Edinburgh is such an exciting city. Students really love being in Edinburgh. The institution itself is really so beautiful. The sort of main drag that heads into the university is full of shops and pubs and restaurants, and students really love that. It's a very walkable city. They treat our students really, really well at Edinburgh. Their visiting student office is just wonderful. So it is very popular. Again, I would say right after that is Glasgow. Glasgow, I think, is also a very exciting city. Underrated, if you ask me. Edinburgh, again, is so popular that not all students will be placed at Edinburgh. Some students will be placed at Glasgow or St. Andrews. Keep that in mind when you're applying. They all have a 3.0 minimum GPA requirement. I need to double check, but I think St. Andrews just raised theirs, so be aware of those minimum GPA requirements. We also have our Intern Scotland program, which is run out of our UC Centre in Edinburgh. You can apply to the Intern Scotland program for fall or spring. They have, this is basically Scottish Parliament, the UN program within Parliament, or for an individual. It's like a youth parliament party. So there are 3 options. You can read those descriptions online to decide what option you think is the best fit for you. You can also apply to all 3. That's an option during the application process. This is huge resume building if you are political science or law. To say that you worked in Scottish Parliament, you were able to work for a specific party within Scottish Parliament is a pretty exciting option. I will say this program can be incredibly competitive. There have been terms where the UC has only been able to place 2 students, and terms where the UC has been able to place nearly all applicants. It really depends on how many intern positions the Parliament has available each term. But you will be taking courses at University of Edinburgh as well. So if for some reason you don't get a placement, you can take courses at Edinburgh and then also do an internship through our UC Center in Edinburgh that they'll connect you with. Usually in most cases, I would say it's a nonprofit, but also often companies or organizations within Edinburgh, just not with the Parliament. And then we have our summer option at Glasgow. It's the Science and Engineering Summer. I will break that down a bit more later, but you can do physics, you can do research, you can do, right now just physics and research. That's a really exciting 6-week summer option that is very popular with our students. Of our summer physics or of our summer science options, it's one of my favorites because it is a reverse classroom. So students are in charge. There is, of course, guidance and supervision from a professor, but students run the classroom. You are teaching each other, you are learning from each other, and students seem to really, really, really like that. It is competitive for placements. There are a limited number of spaces available for that program, and we send the maximum amount of students that we can on that program every summer. All right, let's go over to Ireland. We have 3 university partnerships in Ireland: University College Dublin, Trinity College Dublin, and University College Cork. I want to reiterate that this is Republic of Ireland. We do not currently have any university partnerships in Northern Ireland, but you can attend a program in Northern Ireland through 2 of our OAP partners. As you might have guessed, University College Dublin is our most popular location for students. Dublin is a very, very cool city. It's got everything going on, I would say. UCD does have a 3.0 minimum GPA requirement, whereas Trinity College Dublin has a 3.3 minimum GPA requirement and is a bit more expensive than UCD. So I would say that's the reason why more students tend to go with UCD. University College Cork is also perfectly lovely. It's just not as much of a hustle bustle city as Dublin, so we don't get quite as many students there. But still a great option. Students from in every area of study can study at these institutions. I would say one thing to highlight about studying in Ireland is we have quite a lot of students who are interested in Gaelic studies and Irish dance. So if that's something that you want to do, know that you can do that there. We also have the Irish Parliamentary Internship Program. Similar to the Intern Scotland program, this is an internship through the Irish Parliament, best for political science and social science majors. You will take your courses through National University of Ireland in addition to your internship, which is something like 25 hours a week. Less popular than the Intern Scotland program only because we send less students to Ireland, but it's not as competitive as the Intern Scotland program. So generally every student who applies who is eligible is able to get an internship placement through NUI. And then we also have our summer physics option at University College Dublin. We also have the summer organic chemistry option through University College Dublin, and I will talk about those in a moment. Oh, here we are. All right, summer science programs. So you've heard me mention the physics program. This is our Physics 1 series. So that's 3 courses. It normally takes you 3 quarters at UCSD to complete this physics series. You can complete this entire physics series at Sussex, Glasgow, and Dublin, in just, let me think about this, in just 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, in just 8 weeks. So it is a very rapid pace. You're doing their Physics 1 and Physics 2, which again covers all 3 of our courses in a very short amount of time. But it obviously opens up a lot of space in your schedule because you're completing those 3 courses in 1 summer abroad versus taking them over 3 quarters at UCSD. Very, very popular with our students. We do have a limited number of spaces on each of these programs. We have the most spaces at Sussex, which again is in England. We have the least spaces at Glasgow, which is in Scotland, and we have like a medium amount of spaces in Dublin. We do have you rank your preference because it is the exact same courses at all 3 institutions. We just have the reversed classroom at Glasgow. So we have you rank your preference. We have been able to place every single eligible student at one of the campuses every summer, but it's possible you may not be placed at your first choice. Same thing for the organic chemistry. It's the Organic Chemistry 1 series. There it's 2 courses, and that's available at Dublin. We also, if you're looking for research opportunities, I mentioned the supervision research program at Cambridge. That's for any discipline. At Glasgow, it's specifically within the sciences. All right, so I mentioned our OAP providers. For those of you who are not finding a good option for UCEAP, or perhaps you missed the very, very early UCEAP deadlines, or if you are a non-resident or international student trying to save money, these would be the options for you. IFSA Butler, I would say, is probably our most popular OAP option for the UK. They are at every institution that UCEAP is at least the major ones, and more. And they also have options for you to study at Oxford during the school year if that's something that you're interested in. You can check out their program list online. Again, very popular with our students. ISA is at a couple of the English institutions that UCEAP is at, including King's and I think UCL. They also are at Westminster, which UCEAP is not at. IES is great if you're looking for London internships and you don't find internship options suitable for you through UCEAP. And AIFS is really great. They have a program option in Limerick, which is not available through UCEAP in Ireland. And they also have their own institution, Richmond University in London, which is a great option if your GPA does not meet the minimum requirement for the London institutions, but you're still wanting to study abroad in London. All right, so here's that map that I mentioned earlier. Hopefully you can see my actual mouse here. Here's London. We've got Canterbury, which is where University of Kent is. We've got Cambridge here, Oxford here. So I mentioned all those locations are about an hour to an hour and a half train ride away. That's not bad at all. If we're looking up here at Scotland, here's Edinburgh, which is the capital. Glasgow is about an hour away. St. Andrews is about an hour away. And then here in Republic of Ireland, we've got Dublin here on the eastern coast. Limerick and Cork are more west. Galway's more west. And then, of course, Northern Ireland up here. Our partner AIP has a program in Belfast, if you're interested in being in Northern Ireland. All right, so that is the map of the UK, England, Scotland, Wales, and then our good friend Ireland over here. All right, so next steps are to research your program options. You can have an individual advising appointment if you know what you want to do or trying to decide between a couple of programs. If you still are just starting out and want some more help on the process, we would invite you to do one of our drop-in advising sessions throughout the week. That information is available on our website, and you can also contact us via the VAC. And let's go on into questions. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Whew, that was a lot of talking. I know that was a lot of info, but hopefully you found that helpful. Let me take a look at our questions here. First question is, are you allowed to fill out more than one application for study abroad? The answer is no. You can only apply to one program per term. If you are interested in the English universities, Scottish universities, or Irish universities, you're going to apply to English universities and then rank your preference, UCL, King's, Queen Mary, whatever it is. You'll rank them in your application. So we'll consider, if you've listed, King's as your first choice for English universities, we consider you a King's College London first preference student, but perhaps you're placed at Queen Mary. We'll switch your application over to a Queen Mary student, but you can only apply for one. So in the UCEAP portal, you're going to apply for English universities, rank your institutions. In our Triton's Abroad application, you're going to apply for your first choice institution. And again, we'll switch that application later if you end up being placed elsewhere. That's because, again, we have limited placements across the UC at all of our programs. So it's confusing if we have students with more than one application in. We ask that you apply for your first choice program, if you need advising on what is the best choice for you, please ask. I mean, we're going to give you that advising no matter what. If I honestly think you're not a great fit for that institution based on your area of study or based on your GPA, I will let you know that. You can, of course, proceed with the application if you like, but it's my goal to help you find the best fit program for you that you have the best shot at being placed at. Okay, next question. So in terms of the process of finding out which of the institutions is the best fit for you, we would encourage you to do your own research. So visit the program page. If it's UCEAP, visit the UCEAP program page, click on the academic information tab and take a look at the course options that are available. It'll link you right to two different catalogs: the UCEAP course catalog, which are courses that were previously taken by UC students at that institution, and the university, the host institution's course catalog. So you can take a look at the courses yourself and say, you know what, they actually don't have a lot of chemistry courses at this institution. I should move on. So by the time you're meeting with your academic advisor, you should say, yep, University College Dublin is the best choice for me. These are the 8 courses I've taken a look at that seem like they are the best fit for what I want to do that term. And on our academic planning form for each semester or abroad or quarter abroad, we allow you to list up to 8 courses to have pre-approved. So you have backup course options. In most cases, you're taking 3 or 4 courses abroad, in the ballpark of anywhere from 18 to 24 UC quarter units in these programs. So you can have, 8 courses pre-approved by your advisors, but we do ask that you do that work in advance on your own. We're here to guide you, but your advisors are generally not going to sit down with you and go through 4 different university options. Next question is about whether or not essays are required for the application process. Of the programs I mentioned today, none of the English institutions require that you write an essay during the application process. Our physics programs, or summer physics programs, do require an essay. That's to help us better place you and understand why you want to be at a specific institution or on a specific campus. I mentioned those programs are competitive, so that's why. But you don't have to write essays for any of these other programs. Let me think. Just Oxford and just the summer physics programs. Next question is, how much will everything cost? So the prices do vary depending on program. I mentioned London is going to be most expensive. So you're going to see program costs ranging from 17 to 20,000 in London. I would say outside of London, you're going to see program costs ranging from 15 to 17,000, maybe upwards of 18,000, but usually 15 to 17,000 outside of London. So what I would encourage you to do is take a look at what you pay for a quarter here. Many students are not actually aware of how much they pay for a quarter at UCSD. So you can go into your Triton link, take a look at your bill for winter quarter, for example, see how much your actual cost of attendance is. That's your tuition, your campus-based fees, your housing, your meals, all of that. And also take a look at your financial aid award for the quarter. That will give you an idea of how much financial aid you have available to use for your program abroad. So hopefully that will help you kind of understand that. I'd say the average cost for a term at UCSD for a California resident is about $13,000. As I mentioned, these programs are going to be anywhere from 17 to 20,000. So that is a bit of a gap to fill, and that's where scholarships are going to come in. You will also likely qualify for more financial aid based on the cost of your program. That's something that financial aid will determine. So students are generally able to get that funded based on their financial aid and their scholarships. For those of you who are non-resident students or international students, your non-resident semester fee, which is what UCEAP is going to charge because these are semester programs at the English, Irish, and Scottish universities, is $14,000. So you can go ahead and add $14,000 on to the cost of these programs, which is why another reason why you might want to consider direct enrolling or going through one of our OAP partners. Next question is, how early can we start our application if you're planning for summer 2021? You can start this planning process now and should start this planning process now. Taking a look at the different institutions, taking a look at the different course options that are available, kind of narrowing down that list, and then talking to your academic advisors about what is the best term for you. So summer should work for, obviously everyone, but if you're thinking perhaps next fall, you want to double check with your advisors to make sure that's a good time for you to go. Or if you're even thinking of this coming winter, spring, because you will be gone winter, spring, if you're participating in one of our university, UK or Ireland university programs, you want to make sure that it's going to work for you academically to be gone for winter and spring. Our application process for summer 2021 will open in October with, in most cases, an early January deadline. Next question. Is there a chance that I won't get placed in my program? The example is this: if you apply to an English university and rank 2 to 3 schools, is there a chance I won't get any of them? That's a great question. With the English, Scottish, and Irish universities programs, you are guaranteed, if you meet the minimum requirements, to be placed at one of the institutions. It may not be your first choice, it may not be your second choice. On very competitive terms, it may not be your third choice, but you are guaranteed to be placed at one of the institutions. So all students have been placed at the end of the day. It just may not be your first preference. The majority of students do get placed at their first choice, but not all. So hopefully that answers that question. The next question is about applying for scholarships for international students. Is it difficult? And I will say that there are some scholarships that are not available to international students, but most are. Most of our scholarships are available for all students. And so if you visit our scholarship page on our website, we do have an eligibility tab, or several eligibility tabs, including nationality. And so some of our scholarships will say that you have to be a US citizen or perhaps a permanent resident, but most of them are open to any student. And so you can actually filter scholarships based on your citizenship status. If you just put any enter on the scholarship tab, then you can see scholarships that are available for all students. It's mostly just some of our bigger national scholarships that are run through the State Department that are not available to international students. Are there UC Center programs for the summer? There are not UC Center programs in the summer in the UK and Ireland. We do have UC Center programs in the summer in like Barcelona, Madrid, Paris, a few other locations throughout Europe, but not in the UK or Ireland. Is a Cambridge program very competitive compared to others? That's a great question. It's actually not competitive. I do not have a capacity constraint on that program. So you're not competing with other UC or UCSD students for a place. We take every eligible student. They do have, I would consider it to be a pretty low minimum GPA requirement for how prestigious an institution it is. It's a 2.85 minimum. So as long as you have a 2.85 minimum and you apply but by the deadline, you're going to get a place. So that's why that program tends to be very popular with our students. I send anywhere from 11 to 15 students every summer on the Cambridge program. It's really an exciting opportunity to be on such a beautiful, such a prestigious, such an historic campus. And they do have a huge, what I consider to be a huge summer course catalog across many different disciplines, plus that research opportunity. So it is a great option. I will say the summer Cambridge and the summer Oxford and the summer Sotheby's programs are all very expensive. I want to just be like very clear and very upfront about that. These are not low cost programs. These are not inexpensive programs by any means. These programs cost as much as a semester length program. And so you're ultimately paying for that name and that prestige to be able to participate in those programs. You can be in any of our other programs for the length of a semester for the same cost as the Cambridge, Oxford, Sotheby's summer programs. So take a look at those costs before you fall in love with the program. Please be aware of those summer UK costs. Some of those programs are not cheap. You can use your summer financial aid and any scholarships you may get, but that's never come close to covering the full cost of the Cambridge, Sotheby's, and Oxford summer program. So please keep that in mind. Let's see. Next question. When registering for classes, do the UCEAP universities give some priority to study abroad students to enroll? Or is it depending on your class standing? They don't give priority to visiting students, but you actually register at the same time as their degree-seeking students. So there's no preferential treatment, or you're not like pushed to the curb. You're registering at the same time as their degree-seeking students. They open up their registration at the same time. So there's you have just as good a chance as anyone else at getting the courses that you need. Any other questions today? I appreciate your questions. Everybody's asking really good, thoughtful questions here. All right, well, I want to thank you all so much for attending this webinar. Hopefully you learned a lot. If you'd like to set up advising with me, I am the UK Ireland advisor. You can reach out to me via the back. Please send me 3 dates, times that you are available, and we'll get you scheduled. Otherwise, you can just send your question via the VAC. But I hope to be able to work with all of you on a future study abroad option in the UK or Ireland. All right, I hope everyone has a pleasant evening and a great rest of your week. Stay healthy, stay well, and we'll see y'all later.